Obviously, we're hoping. Yes. Yeah. Robin, she didn't think about it. She was you know, I get it. Does it take much? Next things, budgets. You'll see. It actually gets anytime somebody does. I'm really surprised. Maybe I should. People make it together. Speak over here. You're the first one that figured it.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Christopher Bowe, and I have the privilege to serve Pfeiffer University as Dean of her graduate school. On behalf of the administration, faculty, staff, alumni, and friends of Pfeiffer University, it is truly my pleasure to welcome you to the Henry Pfeiffer Chapel on our historic main campus for this celebration of transition. Transition of the Pfeiffer Physician Assistant Studies students from didactic study to clinical study. Transition from a learner of theory and skills to that of a student clinician. This afternoon, we gather as a Falcon family to mark this milestone. Not so long ago, even though it may seem like ages to many of you, you engaged in the inquiry process, worked your way through the application in the CASPA, interviewed with program faculty, and waited anxiously for Mrs. Harwood's letter indicating that you had indeed been selected to begin PA school at Pfeiffer. That day was your first as a Falcon. Since then, you've engaged in orientation, studied long hours to ensure that you could maximize your achievement in microbiology with Dr. McCallum, opened a cadaver to explore anatomy and body systems, began scholarly research, figured out which pharmaceuticals are designed to work for which ailments with the help of Professor Patterson, learned the requisite skills to work with patients in various clinic settings from each of the faculty, and come to understand through your conversations with Dr. Melvin the importance of cultural competence in the practice of medicine and in the development of working relationships. Through all of these experiences and growing together as a community in the Master of Science and Physician Assistant Studies program, you've come to call Pfeiffer home. I applaud you for your achievements in all of these areas and the myriad others that are too numerous to mention. As the didactic component of this journey comes to an end, know that you've gained the knowledge and professional skills necessary to make you successful in your endeavors in the clinical component of your PA journey, and in Pfeiffer's mission of preparing students for a lifetime of achievement and scholarship. Be aware, though, that much learning is still to come. As lifelong learners, it is my hope that you look at this opportunity as Albert Einstein did, by never regarding study as a duty, but instead as the enviable opportunity to learn. Along with the knowledge and skills you possess at this point, you will continue to refine in your clinical work, and I urge you to spend some time in the moments in this week before you begin that clinical work, and in each of the moments between patients, considering the dispositions necessary to be successful in the healing professions. Saint Teresa of Calcutta wrote, "The greatest disease in the West today is not TB or leprosy. It is being unwanted, unloved, and uncared for." We can cure physical diseases with medicine, but the only cure for loneliness, despair, and hopelessness is love. It is my hope that as student clinicians and later as practicing licensed clinical care providers, that you will, through your example and the way you interact with those you serve, emulate what you have been learning at Pfeiffer in your care of the least, the lost, and the last. This afternoon is a celebration. Pfeiffer University, my colleagues across the college, and all of the friends of our institution congratulate you on achieving this milestone. You have succeeded. You may have stumbled. You have certainly learned, and each of you has grown. You persisted. Because of this didactic phase of the program, you have, as the words of one of the most popular songs from the musical Wicked suggests, changed for the better. In fact, we might argue that you have been changed for good. Again, congratulations on your achievement today, and welcome everyone to this afternoon of celebration. Earning his bachelor's degree from Wake Forest University and his master's and doctoral degrees from the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, Pfeiffer's provost has an extensive career in higher education as both an engaged faculty member and an effective administrator. All of these experiences have helped him develop the unique perspectives that he brings to the many aspects of the work we do in the Academic Affairs Division here. It is my pleasure to introduce to you the Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs at Pfeiffer University, Dr. Daniel Minot.
Good afternoon. Thank you for that introduction. As Dr. Bowe just mentioned, I'm Danny Minot, and it's my privilege to serve as provost at Pfeiffer. All right, I was getting the beat with the phone. Students. What is a provost? Don't feel bad. Nobody ever knows the answer to this. What is a provost? What do I do every day? You all don't get the answer, at least not yet. I see Dale's wanting to. Okay, that's probably the best answer I've ever gotten. I have been described as a soulless bureaucratic pencil pusher. I'm a little surprised they didn't break out into applause, but they didn't. These are really fine folks. You are right. The provost, what is a provost? The provost is the senior academic officer for this institution. So ultimately, I am responsible for your course of study. What is a white coat ceremony? You're getting ready to have one. So my background is in religion, as Dr. Bowe just mentioned, and I looked this up. According to the Gold Foundation, white coat ceremony is this: intended for first-year students in medical, nursing, and physician assistant programs, the white coat ceremony is a rite of passage that often takes place during the initial days of orientation. It serves to welcome students to healthcare practice and elevate the value of humanism as the core of healthcare. It provides a powerful emphasis on compassion in combination with scientific excellence. My understanding is that today you just completed the didactic phase of your program, and you will begin your clinical rotation in early May. Thus, today you will receive the short white coat, and then the long white coat will come after you finish the clinical phase. If that understanding is incorrect, somebody explain it to me later, but that's what I'm going with right now. So in that vein, I want to make 2 points to you today. Point number one, what you are doing today, what you have been doing, and what you are getting ready to start on, what you are doing is very important. It is very important. You will serve the public. You will hold the lives of others in your hands. And since I'm closer to retirement than any of you, let me emphasize that you will take care of the elderly. I don't know whether any of you are religious people. I don't know if any of you are praying people. But I will tell you that I believe that the healing professions are the living embodiment of the gospel message that we read in the New Testament. So that bar is high. Point number two, this one you're not going to believe me. You're not going to believe me. Point number one was what you are doing is important to all of us. Point number two is what you are doing is very important to Pfeiffer. I know that you are sincerely under the conviction that your tuition and fees are expensive, perhaps too expensive. So would you believe me? Who answered my first question? It was you back here. Pay attention. You're getting ready to get another question, okay? Would you believe me if I told you that the cost of Pfeiffer to provide your education costs more than your tuition and fees? It costs us more than what you pay. Do you believe that? He does. We can talk later. I've embarrassed you enough. Believe it or not, it does. For every dollar spent by a Pfeiffer student, somebody else contributes about 33 cents. That's alumni, donors, the Methodist Church. A lot of people care about your education. We have a large investment in you. And the physician assistant program costs more to deliver than most programs that this institution delivers. So we have a significant investment in you. You are very important to us. So as you go forward, please represent us well. On behalf of Academic Affairs, I congratulate you.
Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Dr. Michael Kehoe, and it's been my honor and privilege to be the interim program director for this class over the last 8-9 months, however long that's been. It is also my honor to introduce our keynote speaker. I would like to welcome Dr. Erica Steinbacher. Dr. Steinbacher is the vice chair in the Atrium Health Department of Family Medicine and is the designated institutional official at Atrium Health Cabarrus. She received her medical degree at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and completed her residency at Group Health Cooperative of Puget Sound. She also has served a role and has been very instrumental in the role with her role with Atrium Health in providing the opportunity and coordinating many of our preceptors through Atrium Health. So for all those reasons and many more not to be mentioned at this moment, we are very thankful for all her efforts, and I would like to welcome her as our keynote speaker.
Thank you. And I want to thank Dean Bowe and Dr. Kehoe for inviting me to speak with you all today. It's quite an honor. It's a great honor to help welcome you to the medical profession. I've been practicing and teaching family medicine for quite some time now. A lot has changed during my career, but nothing so rapid and dramatic as the past 2 years. Since the pandemic started, I've worried about our trainees who did not necessarily sign up to be on the front lines of the pandemic. But as I think about those students who chose to enter healthcare since the pandemic, I think of them like I do those that joined the military after 9/11. They saw a crisis, and instead of running away from it, they ran towards it to be part of the solution. I know these individuals must feel truly called to join the ranks of healthcare, in spite of or perhaps because of the last 2 years. There are few greater gifts than having the opportunity to pursue something you feel called to do. It's my hope and expectation that those who answer this call will put the patient first and practice compassion. I put all of you in that category, so it makes me even more pleased to welcome you to the team. This is going to date me, but the tradition of the white coat ceremony started after I entered medical school, so I never got to attend one myself. I will say, however, that even from the very first time I put on the short white coat of the medical student, I felt the power of the symbol, even without the ceremony. My white coat allowed me entrance into sacred spaces, physical spaces such as delivery rooms, operating rooms, and patients' homes, but also interpersonal spaces, hearing stories from people's private lives and inner struggles. Even meeting a patient for the first time, they will often disclose to you things that they've told no one else because of that trust and confidentiality. As a student and resident, my white coat helped me to muster a shaky level of confidence. It helped me with that fake it till you make it that we all feel when we enter medicine. And there are actually studies that show that people perceive someone in a white coat as being competent. So it's not all in your head. It will help you. I never imagined not wearing a white coat at work until the pandemic hit. Researchers have raised concerns about white coats being vectors for transmission of infections for years. But the white coat withstood all of those concerns until March of 2020, when one day Atrium Health said, no more white coats, scrubs only at work. I remember still to this day hanging up my white coat in my closet thinking this might be the last time I hang this coat up. And in fact, this is the first time I've put it on since that day in March of 2020. At first, I found myself feeling truly exposed without my white coat. And I had to ask myself, why was this such a big deal to me? I actually wrote an essay in 2020 entitled COVID Killed the White Coat, because I was thinking about this a lot. For me personally, the white coat had always served as a protector. It gave me a professional boundary line. It also provided a visible transition from work life to personal life. You put it on in the morning, donning it, and doffing it at the end of the day. I'm going to go over a few words that I learned in the pandemic for you today too. Doffing is one of those words. I had never heard that word before 2020, but now we all know we don and doff our personal protective equipment for COVID. So that was a good word. The white coat was also practical. In the old days, it allowed me to carry all my pocket reference books and my dictaphone, and I know I'm dating myself again, but even in the more recent times, I would carry my tools like my stethoscope, my reflex hammer, my monofilament. I have adjusted to life without a white coat and scrubs only, but I did have to buy scrubs with a lot of pockets. I don't know for sure if the white coat's going to make a comeback, but the symbol will remain. So I've shared some of my personal experiences with the white coat, but in preparing for this talk, I learned a bit more about the history of the white coat and how it's changed over time and how I think we need to change with it going forward. Medical professionals didn't always wear white. Up until the late 1800s, black was the preferred uniform. At that time, medicine didn't really offer much hope. It was a very somber business, so black was considered more appropriate. Then in the early 1990s, the concepts of sepsis and antisepsis were coming into play. And white, being a symbol of purity, started to become the standard wear for doctors and nurses. With the development of antibiotics and more rigorous approach to scientific study, medicine actually started to be seen as something that could help people and deserving of authority and respect. And the white coat indicated that the person wearing it was worthy. Things about the white coat have changed over time, and they actually vary by age and geographic distribution. The younger generation seems less enamored with the white coat. One reason for this, I believe, is that in addition to symbolizing respect and authority, it can sometimes symbolize a hierarchy and a power differential. We've already just referenced the short coat versus the white coat. That's one example. But there can also be a differential between the patient and the provider. The white coat can at times increase fear and hinder trust. So this is where I think we can begin to make a change for the future. The days are gone of paternalistic healthcare where we stood over patients and told them what we thought they needed to know, and then they blindly followed our advice. Where the white coat has been an emblem of unquestioned respect and trust, it's incumbent upon us now to earn that respect and trust. We've entered a new era of healthcare that requires transparency, humility, and teamwork. When it comes to transparency, patients now have direct access to all their medical records. They can see their notes, their test results. Most of us were petrified when we found out patients were going to be able to see all their medical records. It was kind of like Y2K. We envisioned all kinds of disasters. We're going to be getting onslaughts of messages and phone calls, and patients are going to question every word that we say. We found quite the opposite. We did get questions from patients, but it was mostly about clarifying their medicines or their test results. Transparency goes beyond viewing their medical information, though. It's important how we explain things to patients. Never has it been more clear than since COVID how important it is to be upfront about what we know and what we don't know, and also the benefits and harms of various interventions. This is a hard concept for us, but also for patients to realize that our knowledge is often limited, and we're often left with weighing the odds or even just making our best judgment. But patients deserve and they will respect you for being honest about that. When it comes to humility, COVID again brought that front and center. Many of us found the past 2 years humbling to the point of being shaken. The data and the evidence change daily, sometimes hourly. My favorite response when people ask me what to expect was, if it's more than 10 minutes from now, I don't know the answer. In the beginning of the pandemic, we had little to offer those who got sick, which was also humbling. But even beyond COVID, medicine has started to appropriately question our assumptions and practices and subject them to more rigorous study. What we've been finding is some of the things that we've been doing for years turns out lack evidence of benefit or sometimes even cause harm. A good example of this is arthroscopic surgery for knee osteoarthritis. When they actually compared it to sham surgery, they found it had no benefit. So there's countless of similar examples. If anyone's interested in learning more about that, I recommend a book called Ending Medical Reversals by Prasad and Sufu. It's again, very humbling. So this brings me to the second term I learned during COVID, epistemic humility. That refers to being humble enough to realize that what you think is true today may well be proven wrong tomorrow. And remaining humble in our approach is going to be critical in promoting healing and preventing harm going forward. We have to use the best evidence we have to maximize high value care and minimize low value care as much as we can. When we look at evidence for a test or treatment, we have to ask ourselves, is this going to help my patient live longer or better or both? If the answer is no, you should think twice and you should counsel your patient appropriately about that. The healthcare delivery system, industry, I should say, thrives on doing more to patients. And it's really hard, especially at the start of your career, to have the confidence not to write a prescription or not to order a test. Doing something is not always better than doing nothing. And when we say do nothing, that's really a misnomer. We have much more to offer our patients than prescriptions and procedures. We offer clarification, education, reassurance, and knowledge that we will be there for them and walk with them down whatever path they are on. Never underestimate the power of that side of what we do. Unlike prescriptions and procedures, that type of care comes without risks or side effects. Another form of humility is cultural humility. I like this term better than cultural competence because it acknowledges that unless you're part of a culture, you'll probably never really be competent. And staying both culturally humble and curious will allow you to break down barriers and avoid misconceptions that can lead to harms and loss of trust. I believe this is one of the keys to closing the gaps in healthcare outcomes that we see now with different populations. Lastly, I want to shine a light on teamwork. Teamwork is essential in today's healthcare. The job of being a medical provider became exponentially more complex in the last few decades. On top of medical discoveries and new medications galore, we have to navigate mounds of metrics and data. We're managing the health of populations, not just treating the sick person in front of us. In order to provide the best healthcare to the most people, we need teamwork. And all of you all are going to be essential in the healthcare teams of the future. Within highly functioning teams, each member does their part to lift up and support their teammates so that everyone performs at their best. A great team shares mutual respect, dependability, and consistent communication. We are each a patch in the quilt of the healthcare team. Together, we can wrap our patients in the quilt of high-quality, compassionate healthcare so that they can live their best life. Okay, back to the white coat again. I do believe in the value of symbols. Symbols can lift us up. They keep us motivated and focused on our mission in difficult times. Remember, though, that behind the symbol, there's a sacred bond between the patient and their healthcare provider. In putting on the white coat today, you enter that sacred bond and will have that trust placed in you. Always act in the humble service to your patients, your teammates, and your community. Don't forget to wash your white coat regularly, and welcome to the team.
Thank you, Dr. Steinbach. And also, probably unknowingly, she provided us all the definition of don and doff as we prepare to step through the donning of the white coats for this class of 2023 that we're so proud of. I'll ask the first group, Franco, if you'll lead the step forward. We'll call the names for each student, and we'll ask you to walk across the stage to accept your white coat. For all of you who, as you watch your loved one, your friend, your family member, your spouse, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever your relationship may be, understand that this is, as Dr. Steinbacher, Dr. Minot, Dr. Bowe have all mentioned, this is a major step. They're in a 27-month program. They're 15 months in. They will now enter working in clinicals, working with actual live patients, making decisions. They'll do it under the supervision of a preceptor, but this is that step. So those of you who are watching, and each of you, as you accept your white coat, reflect that you have worked hard, very hard, to get where you are. And although you're not done, you should be as extremely proud of yourselves as everyone on this stage is. Well done. Franco Abad. Jessica Allen. Kylie Black. Brooke Khan. Cassie Chandler. Thomas Christie. Allison Davis Udy. Jordan Drummond. Paige Evans. Caitlin Gossard. Ashley Greiser. Eli Hadley. Sitlali Hernandez. Shannon Hunt. Taylor Wynn. Jason Jaquish. Angela Kuriakos. Andrea Levine. Lynn Lee. Nick Lerner. Caitlin Lewis. Candace Locklear Robinson. Madeline Miller. Brianna Morales. Carly Natsis. Benjamin Paul. Lauren Smedley. Madison Steigerwald. Matthew Stevens. Crawford Tanner. Madison West. Mackenzie Williamson. We'll allow this last group to have their photo taken and return to their seats. Class of 2023, I will ask you to reach under your seat or wherever you have placed that small token of appreciation from the program that you were told not to open until now. Please feel free to open it now. And we hope that this represents your ability to shine a light on your future, to shine a light in your parents' lives, your patients' lives, and be that light for so many others around you. something to put into your white coat. Friends and family, if you don't know what it is yet, you'll find out shortly. Now I would like to welcome to the podium Professor Patterson.
So for those in the audience, my name is Dell Patterson. I am their current director of didactic education. I sat on the admissions committee and interviewed the majority of the class as they came into our program. I have had the distinct pleasure of teaching them in every semester along the way of the didactic phase. And I just want you all to know I'm so proud of how far you have come. I want you to think back about where you were as a student as you came through your interview, where you were as a student when you came into orientation, and how far you have come, both in your knowledge, but in your maturity and your character as a person. And I wish you well as you move into the clinical phase and you go out and impact other people's lives. I took on the role of coming into academia because I thought about how much of a difference I could make based on how many lives I could touch. And I thought about it long and hard before I left clinical practice. And I look at you as the future, and I've touched your lives, and now you're going to go touch the lives of many other people. So I wish you well. I hope that you have the wonderful education experience that you received during your clinical rotations. And I know you're going to make a fabulous physician assistant in another year. Okay? I have the distinct pleasure of giving you your oath as a physician assistant. So class of 2023, will you stand? I would like for you to repeat after me, and this is your physician assistant professional oath as rendered by the American Academy of Physician Assistants. I will hold as my primary responsibility the health, safety, welfare, and dignity of all human beings. I will uphold the tenets of patient autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, and justice. I will recognize and promote the value of diversity. I will treat equally all persons who seek my care. I will hold in confidence the information shared in the course of practicing medicine. I will assess my personal capabilities and limitations, striving always to improve my medical practice. I will actively seek to expand my knowledge and skills, keeping abreast of advances in medicine. I will work with other members of the healthcare team to provide compassionate and effective care of patients. I will use my knowledge and experience to contribute to an improved community. I will respect my professional relationship with the physician. I will share and expand knowledge within the profession. You may be seated.
Please join me in congratulating the Pfeiffer University Master of Science and Physician Assistant Studies program's newly minted student practitioners. Friends, while this afternoon is certainly a celebration of you, our students, and your achievements, we should also take a moment to express gratitude and appreciation. As has been mentioned previously, this journey from discernment to student practitioner and on to fully licensed physician assistant is not a solitary one traveled alone. There have been many people who have sojourned with you. First, I would like to take an opportunity to thank the faculty and staff of the Physician Assistant Studies program here at Pfeiffer. Our program is a relatively new one, and as such, has required a great deal from these servant leaders in terms of their time, their energy, and their expertise. Will the members of the faculty and staff of the Physician Assistant Studies program please stand so that we might recognize your efforts in teaching, guiding, and mentoring our students to this moment. Secondly, I think it is most appropriate to express appreciation to the family and friends of the students we honor today. Whether you helped with the application process, have provided encouragement, or maybe even a reality check or two, have taken time to laugh and sometimes dry a tear, have prayed, sent care packages, provided funds, or been quietly supportive, you have been part of making this day and will be integral in ensuring the next celebrations take place. If you are here today in support of one of these student practitioners that we are honoring at this white coat ceremony, will you please stand so that our students and faculty can recognize your vital contributions? As we close our time together in this space and transition to the Center for Health Sciences for a reception to continue your celebration, I charge you with the words from a benediction that has been adapted by many ministers and theologians. This version has been penned by the Reverend Dr. Benjamin Boswell. I think it speaks to the ethos of a Pfeiffer graduate education and to the work that we encourage you to do in the world, both in the clinical setting and in your everyday lives. It reads, "May the Creator bless you and keep you. May the Lord's face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May God give you the grace to never sell yourself short, the grace to risk something big for something good, the grace to remember that the world is too dangerous for anything but truth and too small for anything but love. So may God take your minds and think through them. May God take your lips and speak through them. And may God take your hearts and set them on fire. Friends, I look forward to seeing you in about 6 weeks and hearing all about the experiences that you have had in your first rotation. Godspeed in your clinical rotations, and congratulations.
We'll see you at Health Sciences.
I think I made a mistake. Maybe. That's just good care.